Hello, all, and welcome to my quick thoughts on Pixar's newest film, The Good Dinosaur, which sadly looks like it's on its way to being Pixar's first box office flop. Not a lot of people are seeing this movie. The Good Dinosaur is, as far as Pixar movies go, kind of generic. It's a good story. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's overdone. We've seen this story before. It's a lost child attempting to find their way home, crossbred with a kid and his pet story, except instead of it being a human kid and an animal, it's a dinosaur and a human child. So these are things that have been done. These are things that we've played with. We know these tropes. We know these story elements. We know where this is going. We can kind of predict it as it's going. But again, that's not bad. I want to make that clear. While I'm being critical of The Good Dinosaur right now, I'm not calling it a bad movie. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not what I would expect from Pixar. Like, if this was a DreamWorks movie, I would completely understand. But it's not. It's Pixar. So there's a little bit of a disappointment that goes along with it. Again, it is a good movie, though. I want to make that clear. It's just not like on the scale of the good Pixar, your Incredibles and your Toy Stories, all the way down to your bad Pixar, your legitimately bad Pixar, I mean like your Cars 2 and your Monsters Universities, this is in the middle. This is like, it's the middle. It's the Ant-Man of Pixar. It's not great, but it's not bad. And that kind of leaves a weird taste in your mouth when we're talking about Pixar, who normally, with very few exceptions, puts out incredible movies. And it's really showing, too, I think. Because, like, when I watched the trailers of this movie, I got, like, a feeling that it was Pixar's version of Ice Age. And as I watched the movie, that was a lot more prevalent than you would think it is. I'll get to that in a minute, though. But I'm wondering if the trailers, with that kind of generic feeling kind of coming through with them, because you could already kind of tell from the trailers that this is just like a little lost dinosaur on the prairie, as opposed to a little house on the prairie, anyway. And, well, the movie's not doing very good at the box office. Like I said, nobody's seeing it. So I wonder if just the genericness is seeping out of it so much that people are kind of catching on to it. Or maybe it's the fact that this is the second Pixar movie that's come out this year, Inside Out being the first, that's causing people to, like, be a little hesitant, and like maybe they don't want to go see another Pixar movie this year, or maybe because Pixar's already made a movie this year, they think that it's someone else. Or maybe this just isn't a good month for, I don't know what that sound was. Maybe this just isn't a good month for animated movies. Peanuts, which came out at the start of the month, had a budget of $99 million, and it's only made $134 million, and that $99 million budget does not include advertising, so Peanuts is currently in the red. And then we now have The Good Dinosaur, which cost about $200 million to make, and its advertising was roughly $150 million from what I've read online, which, by the way, if your movie costs $200 million and you're spending $150 million to advertise it, you're not doing something right. But, yeah, so this could just be a really bad month for animated movies, because Good Dinosaur thus far has only gotten $131-ish million at the box office, so both major animated releases for the month of November are seriously in the red right now. And I don't know if that's telling of the climate or if that's telling of the month. I feel like this is the time of year where kids' movies should be doing quite well with, like, the Thanksgiving holidays and just, all the focus on family whatnots that we have during the holiday times, but I guess not. Or I wonder if it was reversed. I wonder if The Good Dinosaur came out this summer and Inside Out came out right now, if things would be different, or I don't know. And I know I haven't really talked about the movie itself all that much in very specific terms, but like I said, this story's been done. We've seen the lost child trying to get home and his pet journey before, and like I said, this is basically Pixar's version of Ice Age. In more ways than you'd think, because The Good Dinosaur is about an hour and 40 minutes long, and of that hour 40, I'd say close to 30 minutes of it is fluff. And by fluff, I mean just amazing visuals just thrown at you on the screen, and you're blown away by them because they are breathtaking visuals that are very stunning, but there's nothing behind them. They're empty visuals. There's no deeper meaning to them. There's nothing for us to chew on. we're just there sitting in the theater going, oh, that's pretty. And then we forget about the shot 2 seconds later because there was nothing behind it other than the prettiness. It was very vapid and hollow. Again, visually amazing. I'm not knocking this movie on its visuals. It's just, there wasn't enough behind it to really get the effect that I think the movie makers wanted it to have. And it's similar to Ice Age in that fashion, because Ice Age had, it was an hour and a half, hour and 40 long, something like that, and a huge chunk of it is just silly jokes. Scrat trying to get his acorn, the sloth, voiced by John Leguizamo, being clumsy. But instead of being like, clumsy, silly humor in Ice Age, it's just fluffy, empty visuals. And it's basically the same story of, oh my god, I gotta get back to the thing at the mountain before a certain time of year happens, because then bad things will happen if I'm not on the other side of the mountain by this very specific point in time. And I don't like saying this. I love Pixar. I do. I legitimately love Pixar. Do I even need to say that? Who doesn't love Pixar? But you know what? That's enough bagging on a just kind of decent movie that will be forgotten about in a few years. Like, I have a feeling that 10 years down the line, when people are marathoning, the Pixar movies, they'll finish Inside Out, and then there'll be a lot of moments of, crap, do we watch Incredibles 2 or Toy Story 4 now? Because people have just kind of forgotten about The Good Dinosaur. But, despite my 7-ish minutes of calling this not a very good movie, there is still a legitimately compelling reason for you to go out and buy a ticket and to see this movie right now. And that is the animated short that accompanied it, Sanjay's, I think I pronounced that right, or Sanjay's, I think it's Sanjay's Superhero Team. And it's, I believe, a mostly silent short. I don't think either of the characters say anything. I could be wrong. I could just not be remembering it. But it's basically a boy and his father on a Saturday morning, the boy wanting to watch his superhero cartoons, and the father wanting to, pray to their gods. Because another cool thing about this, I haven't said anything cool yet. A cool thing about this short is that these characters aren't white. And that, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Internet, but I think that makes these characters the first prominently featured, like the first lead human characters they've had in one of their movies who's, not white. So good for them. Seriously, I don't mean that sarcastically. Like, Pixar has broken through that racial barrier there a little bit, and they have characters of color who are the main characters in one of their stories. So good for them. And so this father, he's praying to his they're not actually Hindu gods, I don't think. If I'm wrong, again, correct me. I think they're just versions of Hindu gods, like variants thereof, in order to fit in with the narrative of the story of this boy trying to, enjoy and love his superheroes, and the father attempting to love and show respect for his gods. And that juxtaposition of the superheroes and the Hindu gods together in one story was very compelling. It was an amazing visual feast, this short, because it breaks down into like a superhero-esque battle between the Hindu gods and some kind of demon thing. And that's visually amazing, because it's not actually combat that these things have with each other. It's like a weird form of dance that's hypnotizing, and you can't take your eyes off of it. And so you combine those types of visuals with this kind of, these metaphors, especially today when superhero things are everywhere, dominating the box office and the cultural norms, and just getting into every facet of our society, and putting them on the same level as, ancient gods of worship and things like that, because that's kind of what superheroes are. They're more or less the modern deity. It's not the same thing, we don't go to church and worship Superman, but we do sit in front of the TV and just love every second of his cartoons, or we read the comics, or we go to the movies. It's still the same basic idea, and I think that's a very intelligent thing, especially for a short to try and tackle. I don't know about a huge full-length movie, or no, actually I take that back. That's doing these things off the top of my head like this. I take that back. A huge full-length movie like this could work, but as a short, it was beautiful, it was poignant, and it had a nice little wrap-up, and it was the best thing that I saw on the big screen that day. The Good Dinosaur, take it or leave it. Sanja's Superhero Team, amazing, and consider it 100% recommended. If you have nothing else going on, you've seen every other movie out there, go see The Good Dinosaur just for Sanja's superhero team. You know, feel out The Good Dinosaur. If you're loving it, keep watching it. If you're not, do whatever you want to do. But just whatever it takes, see Sanja's superhero team. That is worth your time. And I've been ranting for 10 and a half minutes now, and I'm out of steam, so I'm going to go. So you guys have a good day.